everyone. So I thought I would do a video, just kind of an overview and thoughts on my foundations that I have for very fair skin, pale skin, whatever you want to call it. My face is around NC5 to NC10, I would say. My neck is definitely NC5 or a tiny bit lighter. My hands are the same color as my neck and my chest and most places. My face just looks quite a bit darker because of all the freckles. So I need to touch up, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use one of the products that I'm mentioning, and this is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish, Natural and Light. So I'm using the e.l.f. Complexion Brush, which I really, really like. It's quite nice. So I would say I haven't really found a perfect match ever, though I do have one that's pretty good, and I have a bunch that are meh, usable, I would say. Not great, but they do the job. And I do not wear my, I tend to wear foundation in kind of light to medium coverage. I do have freckles during the winter. I mean, some of them, in some places you can barely see them, but I do have quite a lot, like through here, a lot under my eyes. On my forehead they're a little brighter, whatever. So I try to make sure that I'm not really covering them. I try not to cover them on my cheeks and on my nose because they are quite faded and you can't see them all that much. So it's just, I try to keep it in balance, you know, so you can see freckles everywhere, if that makes sense. And I don't have a lot of things I'm trying to cover. Sometimes I have like breakouts like I do right now, but I just tend to kind of leave those alone. Sometimes I take the time to conceal them, most of the time not though, if I'm honest, because I don't really have anything that works all that great. It always breaks down within 4 to 6 hours. 6 hours is good, but whatever. I'm lazy. Let's just be real. Okay, so I swatched things on my hands, and I hope you'll be able to actually see the differences in the undertones and how some are dark and some are light. We'll see. So starting off, new product to me, Mishha Signature Real Complete BB Cream SPF 25. This is shade number 13, right? I'm having a flash of doubt. I'm quite sure it's shade number 13. This one is supposed to be lighter than NC15. It is not, it's not a warm tone. It's, let's see, I have it here. So it's the first one right here. It definitely has more of a pink undertone, kind of like a clay, pinky clay almost. Maybe when you actually have it on somewhere with oil, it will be less pinky. I like the color of this, but it does not sit well on my skin. I have a lot of dryness on kind of my cheeks, parts of my chin, and just flakiness, and that definitely accentuates it. The place I don't have flakes, it even accentuates the dryness. It tends to just looks really dried out. That one is supposed to be more dewy than the Perfect Cover, I believe, but it's still, it doesn't work on my skin well. Makeup Forever Face and Body, but the color is decent, so maybe it's worth trying if you don't have skin issues. Makeup Forever Face and Body, and this is shade number 38. So I've used about half of this. Yeah, it's full too, right about there. And this is 1.69 ounces. It is one liquid foundation that I can put on with my hands, and it's not going to settle into my pores. It seems to behave somewhat like MAC Face and Body, where you blend it, and all of a sudden it grips, and it almost feels like it has, the color changes because it seems pretty dark in here, but once you get to that point where it kind of grabs, it seems a lot lighter. That said, it is kind of a pink peach tone, but it is, the finish is really like skin-like, so it's not very noticeable, and I don't like to throw around that skin-like finish because I feel like everybody says everything has a skin-like finish, and so many things on me don't. So many things look super dry. This one actually can get some shine on my cheeks, which is awesome. So if this was lighter, and wasn't so pink, I would think that this might be my best bet. I do want to try MAC Face and Body and 1+ white. I think that I'm going to get that and then I'm going to give up. Either that's going to work for me well, like the texture and the finish and all that, plus I can customize the color, or I just need to stop because nothing really works. This is wearable, it's doable, but I do feel sometimes it looks too dark. A relatively new product to me. This one, the swatch is right there. This is the Laura Mercier Cream Smooth Foundation in Porcelain Ivory. It is very yellow. I like yellow toned things just because I have a lot of redness in my face, in my cheeks and nose, but this is quite yellow. I am wearing that on the outside of my face, on my forehead today, not on my nose. I don't know how much of it is actually left on my skin. I don't feel like it sits all that well. I got this because Lisa Eldridge said it was good for really dry skin, and it just doesn't look good on my skin. It is quite light, but it is also quite yellow. Let's see. Yep, this one next. Maybelline Fit Me in 110. This is, of the ones I have, it is neutral-ish. It doesn't look too crazy on me. There we go. Maybe this will be a better angle. Oh, you can see kind of the peachiness of the Face and Body, yellow of Laura Mercier Cream Smooth. And this one is kind of like in between. It's not quite as peach, it's not quite as yellow. So it's definitely a little bit more neutral. It is quite light. This doesn't sit on my skin very well though. It tends to break down really quickly, but since it's so cheap, it's definitely worth trying out if you are very fair and looking for a drugstore foundation, because it does have a fairly nice finish. If you have dry skin, I feel like it works okay on dry skin. For me, it does still have that settling into my pores and cakiness and whatever. I don't know if it's cakiness, but it just, it becomes very visible on my face. I will link my foundation frustration video below, and I really zoom in and you can see what the Bobbi Brown Skin Foundation does on my face. This and most other things also do that are liquid. Okay, this one is not a foundation per se, but I do use this on my face, kind of like I shear it out a little bit, and most of my skin is decent, but I do have that redness, so I tend to want something that's just on my cheeks and my nose and whatever. Anyway, this is Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics Skin Conceal Y0. So they're more yellowy ones. You know, I had read things online that, oh my gosh, it's so pale. It's so, I thought it was going to be too light. No, not too light. It's not that much lighter. I wouldn't say it's really any lighter than any of these. It's nothing special. It does have, let's see, it has mineral oil. It's the 4th ingredient is mineral oil. This doesn't sit on, I hesitate to put this in my acne prone areas and on my nose just because they'll break down anything quickly, and I feel like an oil, one that has maybe a little bit more oil in it, is just not going to work too well, so that's something to note. On this hand, I have some more Drugstore. This one, this is Maybelline, no, CoverGirl 3-in-1 Stay Fabulous Outlast. This is one that is okay, but it does not work well on the dry parts of my face. It looks really pretty miserable. And this is, the shade is 805, which I think is Ivory. Yep, Ivory. Again, a decent option if you're not dealing with really dry skin, though Kristen Game, I think, likes this, and she has quite dry skin. So take my concerns about dry skin with a grain of salt, because maybe typical dry skin could make it work. I don't know. It's a pretty matte finish, as you can see on my hand here, though my skin is dry on my hands, so it's probably accentuating that aspect. Revlon Colorstay. This is the combo oily one, and this is in 110 Ivory. That is this one right here. It's, you know, like everything else, it's a little dark, it's a little peach, but it's doable. I'm wearing that today on, well, I was wearing it today on my nose and on my chin, and I probably still have some left on my chin. I don't know that I have much left on my nose. I think most of what's on my nose right now is the Mineralized Skin Finish Natural. For whatever reason, the oil in my face breaks down makeup really fast, like super fast. It doesn't matter. I have never met a long-wearing product that actually just worked. So I don't have any moisturizer on my nose. I have the Hourglass Veil Primer and this, and I set it with a powder. And it's still just like gone after like 5 hours. Decent option, I feel, for very fair skin. It's okay. Maybe NC10, not quite NC15 it would work. I think next I have some powders actually before the MAC. Next up is what I'm wearing on the Touch Up Mineralized Skin Finish Natural in Light. It's a hair bit darker than the Laura Mercier powder that I am going to mention next. It can look a little peachy. I feel like it oxidizes a little bit, and I did swatch this about maybe, let's see here, about probably 20 minutes ago, half an hour. So everything would have time to kind of turn into its whatever color. So I think you can see the Colorstay there is a little bit darker. But it's nice. I feel like it's something I can wear with all my skin issues. Powders just seem to work better for me than liquids, much to my dismay. And the finish on it is not too matte, which is nice for a foundation. I can get a decent amount of coverage if I wear a primer underneath and kind of buff it over, using something like the Real Techniques buffing brush or the e.l.f. Studio powder brush, the flat-topped kabuki type brush. Those both can give me a decent amount of coverage without it getting too powdery matte looking, and it lasts a decent amount of time. It's like half a day, like most things for me, so it's okay, it's acceptable. I stay at home with my son, so I have the flexibility to just like redo my face makeup in the middle of the day. Last powder foundation, mineral powder foundation, and I feel like this is the best color that I have found, and it's the Laura Mercier mineral powder in soft porcelain. I have it swatched here, so you can see here it's just plain lighter than everything else. It does, I'm not sure if it's oxidizing or what, or just kind of settling down, any excess kind of falling off, but I do feel like this one it's just the best match for tone. It's light enough, it doesn't look too peach. The only downside with this is it's a very shiny sounds really excessive, but dewy, whatever. I feel like dewy implies moisture. Well, obviously it implies moisture, but since it's a powder, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. It has quite a sheen, and the more you use and the more you buff it, the more of the sheen you get. And I have the most kind of noticeable pores that kind of bug me are right above my eyebrow and right here. And I feel especially right here, if I don't have some sort of kind of pore filling primer in that area with this, it really accentuates my pores. But if I do put some sort of primer that, minimize the appearance of pores a little bit more, this over it can look very nice and very seamless. So this I think is really a beautiful option if you're very fair. NC5 to NC10-ish I think can work with this. I do have the advantage of, because I have the freckles, there's just an expectation, I think, to have a different, a darker face than a neck. So maybe it's easier for me to get away with it. You're just expecting some sort of difference. I'm not really sure. I feel like it's easier for me than someone that just has pure porcelain, creamy white skin from, without any sort of freckly, spotty situation going on. I don't know. So I feel like maybe I have a little bit more flexibility. Last, liquid foundation, right? Yes. So this is MAC Matchmaster 1.0. Again, this does not sit on my skin very well. I would say MAC says it's about an NC10. Areas that have like a little bit darker redness, whatever, I feel like this does match pretty well, but on my neck, again, it's the same business. So it doesn't look as peach. It does look a little bit more yellowy. It's more neutral toned, I would say. It's not... It probably looks less peach than the Revlon and the CoverGirl because it's a little bit lighter. But yeah, it has a pretty decent neutral tone. For me, it just doesn't work on the dry skin, like I said. I might try this again with my Real Techniques sponge and see if I can wear it or not, or if it gives that weird, funky, really makeup-y look on my face. We'll see. And I believe, yes, I also swatched, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, Laura Geller Balance-n-Brighten in Porcelain. So the soft porcelain of Laura Mercier is definitely more yellow toned. I have warm undertones, and I would say from neutral to warm undertones, and so this is a good bet for me. If you have pink undertones or you're looking for a pink option, Laura Geller's Balance-n-Brighten in Porcelain is quite pink. Some are more pink than others. And that's what the packaging looks like. And you can't see too well right now because I kind of made a mess while I was swatching and kind of smeared it all together. But there's just veins of pink in here, which I think is very strange. So if you kind of focus on the more pink areas, you can get a very like light pink color. I do have a video of showing applying this. I also have a video for the Laura Mercier mineral powder that I will link below. And I think that's all of the ones that I have specific videos for. Yeah, so it is very light, but it also is quite pink. So those are the foundations that I have and that I attempt to use sometimes. My favorites at the moment are the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural and Light, Laura Mercier Mineral Powder in Soft Ivory, no, Porcelain, Soft Porcelain, the OCC Concealer, and the Makeup Forever Face and Body. I do have white mixers. So I have both the Face Atelier Ultra Foundation in 0-, which is white, and I also have the Illamasqua Skin Base Foundation in white. Both of these work nicely if you didn't have skin problems that I have. I feel that these are really tough to wear with the dryness of my skin. They just don't. Even if I'm able to get a decent finish out of a foundation, once I add these, it will make it not work. I've tried adding these to like the Paula's Choice Tinted Moisturizer in level 1 because that is a little bit too dark, and I do have a video for that one showing that one, just applying it. It goes on like a dream and I love it, except for the fact that it's a little too dark. If I try to add something white, it makes it so I can't just throw it on. The Face Atelier is more liquidy. The Skin Base is a little bit thicker. So those are options. They won't work with something like the Face and Body. This needs a water-based foundation to mix with. It's possible that it would mix with the MAC Face and Body in white. I'm not sure. I wonder if I can unscrew this. Oh, I can. I wonder, I don't want to screw up this whole bottle, but I might think about trying to add once I make that MAC Face and Body purchase, maybe. Trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. So I think that is everything. Hopefully hopefully this was just kind of a nice short overview of all the things that I currently have. I have tried some other things in the past. Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus. Their lightest shade is very light, so you might want to look at that. Something I've kind of gone back and forth on repurchasing is the L'Oreal True Match in W1. That one is also very fair. So if you're looking for another drugstore option to try, that one, I just had a very old bottle and it wasn't working with my skin. I've thought about trying it again, but realistically it probably won't work with my current skin situation, but it is very light, so that's something also to consider at the drugstore. Let me know if you have any tips on working with my problematic skin, any good stuff you've found for very fair skin. I'm really hoping to only buy that MAC foundation, but if I can find something that's really awesome that I can, get a sample of or swatch ahead of time, I will definitely try that out. So I hope you are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.